Well, welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Guidelines. This is the podcast that takes you past the listings, the programs, and the polished sales talk to reveal the real people shaping today's real estate world. Here we uncover the personal stories, struggles, and wins that define each guest, giving you a fresh human perspective on the business. I'm Jason with Creative First Mortgage, and together we're on a mission to help you see the person behind the professional, because real estate isn't just about the deals, it's about connection. So today's guest is someone I'm super excited to introduce to you. Someone I recently just did a closing with. I've seen some great things from her on social media. Please welcome to the show, Jessica Giselle. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. It's so nice to be here. It's an honor.
Awesome. So I know it's 4th of July coming up tomorrow. Today's July 3rd, 2025. Got any big plans before we jump into the show?
I am actually going to be hanging out with my family tomorrow, and honestly, just going to have a chill weekend. I don't have my boys this weekend, so I'm a little bummed out about that. But we're going to make the most of it, probably do some home chores around the house.
Yeah. So. Good. Yeah. Good time to get some things done when we're not having to work all day. So, well, good. Well, I want to start with a question to you. I know that you have recently or more recently became a realtor. And my question to you is really like, what led you or inspired you to become a real estate agent?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's actually a funny story. So I never really had a curiosity about real estate up until maybe 5 years ago. And I always had some type of interest in it, but never really knew much about it. It always seemed hard. That's all I remember. It just seemed like something that was very difficult. But it wasn't until I started working with my mom, and she has her own cleaning business, and we worked with a client, and she was a real estate agent. And I kind of asked her, what a real estate agent does. And she talked to me a little bit about it. And she's like, you should try it. You would be a really good real estate agent. You have the personality for it. That's kind of all she told me. And so I didn't really know what that meant. And I was like, no, I could never do that. Like, it's too hard. I always kind of just put that in my head. And so she kind of planted that seed for me initially. And once I went home and kind of sat on it, I was like, maybe I should try it and give it a go. So me and my cousin started talking about it, and we actually both took our online course, and I stopped taking it. It got closer to the deadline, and I just was putting it off. And truthfully so, I think I was just scared of it. I think because I was so scared of doing something for myself, the pressure was just heavy, that I just procrastinated. And then the deadline came and I quit. I gave up. And after that moment, I was like, I can't do this. Like, this is too out of my means. So I was kind of just afraid of it after that. And then fast forward, I met my fiance in Birmingham, and we just started talking. He's like, what is it that you want to do? I was like, I help my mom run her cleaning business right now, but I really want to do something for myself. And real estate came up, and he was kind of the one that was like, you should do it. Like, like he kind of pushed me and was like, you could do great. You should do it. I have friends that are agents. Let me connect you, and, you should do it. And I think because he knew that I was talking about it, I probably wanted to do it, but I was so scared of actually pulling the trigger and doing something hard, because it is hard at the beginning. It's dedication and time that you have to put into it. And I don't think I was ready for it because I was so scared of failing. So honestly, just having people around you telling you and believing in you was the push, because I wish I could say, like, I saw somebody that inspired me and I was like, I'm going to go and do it. And that just really wasn't my mentality. My mentality was like, I like the idea of it, but the pressure of going through with it and succeeding is so heavy on me that I think I ran away from it for a long time, until the people around me were kind of like, we believe in you. Like, now it's time for you to believe in you. And it was really my fiance that put a fire under my butt.
Yeah.
because he started telling everybody that I was going to be a real estate agent in 2 months. He's like, hey, everybody, she's going to be a real estate agent. And I was mortified. I was like, don't tell people that because you're going to fail. And he's like, you're not going to fail. Like the only person that's stopping you is really yourself because you keep having all these considerations in your mind that you will fail. So therefore you might, but if you start believing in yourself, he's like, I know you can do it. You've done harder things. And so when I started kind of putting that idea in my mind, like, yes, I have done harder things. I can do it. Why do I not believe in myself? Then I started little by little believing it. And I do believe once you believe in it, it's much easier to do it because you see it too, instead of like blocking it, almost like being so negative towards it that you just don't, want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how the short version of how I got into real estate.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great point. Like fear of failure is a real thing, right? Because like when you go on your own, you don't have a salary to, rely upon.
No.
But kudos for you to having like people that support you and kind of maybe not forced you, but can, just really confirm that, hey, you can do this. So that's an awesome story.
It was reassurance for sure.
Yeah.
It was, being reassured that I could. And, it's hard sometimes for young professionals and for moms, once you have kids and you've been married and like you want to believe that you can do big things, but you almost think, well, I can't now. It's too late. It's too late in the game to start something new. And it's really not. Like you can start at any point. I think one thing my fiance always tells me is like, look at Morgan Freeman. Like he didn't start like, being an actor and stuff till like way late in his days. And he's like proof that like, if you want something, you can do it if you put in the effort of actually doing it,
Yeah, Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's, started at 52 years old. Before that, he was like this average sales guy. So yeah, I agree with that 100%. So now that you're in real estate, when, I guess, is that moment when you knew, man, I'm in the right profession?
It's funny that you say that because for the first 8 months, I was like, what am I doing? Like, is this for me? Again, I was very scared of failure. And so real estate's hard. Like I tell people, I encourage people that want to get into it, but I also am realistic. Like if you want to get in it, it is hard at the beginning, especially if you're going in full time, because like you said, you're paying dues and like signing up for everything, and that's not cheap. And then you have to kind of hustle. The first year is really about learning and hustling. So I think the moment that I really thought this is for me is when I helped this family and they closed, and it was not an easy deal. It was hard. It was hard to get them pre-approved and then to find them the right house. But the appreciation that they demonstrated after, that sense of like, I helped somebody accomplish this, being part of something big like that, because it is a big deal, and that's when it kind of solidified for me, like, this is what I want to do. Like, I want to help people. Anything that is, because I mean, when have you had a bad day when you help somebody? You know what I mean? Like that.
Good point.
A helping hand. And so I think when I saw the appreciation from the people that I helped, that is kind of what tied it all together for me. And I was like, man, that means a lot to me, that they see that I'm wanting to help them, because it's another reason why I really chose real estate, is because I wanted to help people into home ownership. I, at the beginning, kind of just saw all the struggle and the strife, and was kind of more selfish in that sense. Cause I was like, well, this is hard for me. Like, I'm having to pay, like, I don't know when I'm going to get paid next. Like, I saw that. But then when I kind of changed my perspective into how can I help instead of how can this help me? And I changed my perspective into how can I help people accomplish this? I mean, everything changed for me. And I did, like, it took me really having a heart-to-heart with myself, and then really just kind of depending on God to help me with the rest, like, hey, I don't know what my financial is going to look like in the next few months, but I'm going to trust that you got me, and I'm just to do my part in trying my best to help the next person.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. And maybe you had to go through that challenge to really get that appreciation. And, maybe if I was doing the loan, maybe it would have been easier, but we won't have to talk about that. This is about you on today's show. So, um,
And
so
I'll,
let me kind of shift a little bit, if you don't mind, and let me ask you, because I know you speak Spanish, obviously, right? I won't say obviously. What I know, you speak Spanish.
claro que sí, hablo español.
Yo también. So I'd like to ask you, like, how that being bilingual, how has that been in your experience? How has that shaped your real estate direction in terms of your career path? Like, has it been beneficial? Has it been like, just kind of tell me a little bit about that.
It has been super beneficial, but I'll be completely honest. At the beginning of my real estate career, I was scared of it. I was scared of not meeting my clients' needs with how I spoke in Spanish. I was a little bit insecure, just to be, honest. I am first gen Mexican American, and although my parents are fluent in Spanish, I mean, I grew up speaking English. That was what I learned, and I express myself better in English. But I love my culture. I love my background, and so one thing that was challenging for me is that I completely lost my Spanish and then had to relearn it. So there is an insecurity that comes with that, with not being able to deliver something good for your clients. So when I first started, I was super scared of working with Spanish speaking clients, because I didn't want there to be any loss of translation. I wanted them to feel 100% comfortable with me and know exactly what they're getting themselves into. And just honestly, I don't think I believed in myself at the beginning, because I was like, I don't think I can deliver that for them, until I had to do it. And then I was like, yeah, I totally can do that,
Mm-hmm.
And they reassured me in like, I trust you. Thank you. Everything that you said it was clear. And that really gave me the confidence to want to work more with Hispanic clientele, because I felt like there was more of a necessity there too. I wanted to help where there was more of a necessity, and being bilingual, it's honestly a gift. I get to help not only just people that speak English, but now I get to help a whole another culture, and that, to me, that's beautiful, because I'm like, now I get to, do more. I get to help more. And so I do try to focus in now on where there's more need. And so I do try to do like seminars in Spanish to help. I've started to. I was very scared of it the first year. My mentor is actually the one that pushed me to do that, because he's like, why are you holding back? And I'm like, I'm like nervous. I'm like worried if they're not gonna, like, if I'm not gonna he's like, you're gonna do great. He's like, try it. And I did, and he was right. So
yeah. Yeah, I have that resonates with me a good bit, because I obviously have English as my first language, and learning Spanish, and then not only trying to understand it, but then present it in a way that's professional.
yes.
That was always the challenge for me, because my stepfather's from Mexico. I don't know if I told you that. So I was raised with a Hispanic family and Hispanic culture, but I knew what the bar talk was.
Yeah.
But like, could I go into a boardroom and like pitch something? No, I didn't. So I really had to work hard on that. But you're right. I mean, I agree with you 100%. Once you get into that culture, I don't know, I just feel like there's more of an appreciation there. There's a lot more trust there. You close a deal, you got brother, sister, cousin, uncle that, now you're their person. So I really do love that about the culture. So yeah, appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so let's talk about your marketing. I see you on social media. I see you on Facebook and Instagram. I think you do a great job.
Thank you.
But tell me a little bit about, I guess, what you're doing on there. What's been the most successful, and what platforms do you like to use when you're doing your social media marketing?
I want to try all platforms. I want to see what sticks, but I've gotten better at social media, and I have to give credit where it's due. My fiance is the one that really helps me and pushes me. He shows me the ropes, and he's like, this is what you should do. It's up to me to do it. Right. And sometimes it's a struggle to get yourself out there. I think at the beginning, that was something that I truly struggled with, because you do have to put yourself out there, and people want to know you, like you, so they can do business with you, you know? So at the beginning, I really wanted to do like a business strategy, and that just wasn't me. It's just, I'm not the person kind of person, you know, that I'm going to go and say, hey, choose me to be your realtor. So that was really hard for me. So what I've leaned on doing now is just being more organic, like just be yourself, like just showing the people what you do, not just in real estate, but outside of real estate. You know, what does my everyday life look like? You know, well, what do I enjoy doing? What do I enjoy eating? And because I just want people to know who I am, because that's really where the trust comes in. When somebody knows you for who you are, they're more likely to trust you. You know, I think it's great when realtors highlight, you know, what all they can do in their business. I think that's just as good, but I think that just is not really my avenue. I think for me, it's just, I want somebody to use me because they like me, because they know me, because they trust me, you know? And so that's kind of where what my social media looks like. You know, every now and then I'll drop some knowledge, some real estate knowledge, you know, and if I get an award, I might post that every now and then, but primarily I just want people to know who I am as a person.
Yeah. Authenticity, right? People want to do business with who they know, like, and trust.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So you keep mentioning the fiance, and you keep talking about people that are behind you and kind of pushing you. And so obviously it sounds like you have a very strong personal life as well. One of the challenges that I think a lot of people have, especially entrepreneurs, is balancing that time between your personal life and your business life. So I'd like to ask you what kind of challenges that you have kind of separating that, you know, between I'm the professional Giselle to the personal Giselle.
Yes. It's so funny that you brought that up, because I've had several conversations with just friends and even my fiance himself about balancing that. You know, my mom, I have two boys, growing boys, and they're my pride and joy. And I want to make sure I'm there for them, you know, games and stuff. So as my business grows, my time feels a little limited, right? You know, your business grows, your time feels limited. And I want to make sure that I am prioritizing both, and there's a good balance, but finding that balance is really hard, and I'm still figuring it out. You know, I can't sit here and say I got it all figured out, because every day is a challenge. There's some days that are easier to balance both things, and there's other days that it's just super difficult and I want to cry. And I'm just like, I want to make sure I'm there for both, because I love my clients and I want to be there for my clients always. But I also love my family, and I want to make sure that they're seen and heard, and, you know, I'm present with them as well. So one thing that has helped me in my business is hiring a transactional coordinator, who is also somebody that I trust and love. And so she's helped me a lot, and we've helped each other, you know, to where we can be more of a team, an alliance, where it makes it easier. And honestly, just having a good support system in the home. My kids are supportive, you know, they don't really nag me when they know I have to do something. They're like, you know, mom's got to get something done, and then after we're going to go play, you know. And then my fiance's, again, really good at helping me with chores around the house. And so it's definitely important to know that you have that strong support system. If it's not at home, if it's your friends, right? The people that you surround yourself with, your circle, is constantly helping you, pushing you, and giving you different perspective, which has helped me tremendously, not just personally, but in my career.
Sure. So like really more, maybe the quantity is not there as much as the quality. So in other words, like when you're with your family, even if you've got to work an 8 or 10 hour day, when you've got those few hours, you're just unplugged, focused on them. Is that kind of where you're going with that?
No, it definitely is. I've learned to unplug. You know, my fiance is kind of the one that does a lot of social media around when we're doing activities. So I've learned to completely disconnect. Recently now I've been, you know, showing little moments for my social media, because I want my clients to feel as if they were there in some moments as well. So I try to highlight, but I mean, there's days where I just say, I'm not going to be on my phone today, and I'm just going to be with my family, period. You know, and it is separating that time with that you have in your business. Just like you have to time block for real estate and say, from this time to this time, I'm doing only this. I treat sometimes my family time, because it is so sacred to me, you know, as well as a time block. Like this Saturday, I'm not scheduling anything. I'm not showing no houses. I'm just going to be with my family.
July 4th weekend. That's what it's about.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what advice would you give to other agents that maybe are bilingual to serve the multicultural communities? Is there a difference on how you approach it now that you're kind of working on both sides?
Yes, there is. I will say, if there was any advice that I'd get, want to give, it's to have patience, because we don't really know what somebody is going through and how they feel about something. The way I can feel about buying a home is not the same way the next person feels about buying a home. A lot of people have a lot of anxiety over it because they don't know what it is and it scares them. It's a lot of money. It's the biggest investment of your life, So it's not about just saying, well, it's easy, all you got to do is get pre-approved and go find a house, but not everybody views it as that way. So I would suggest having to hear them out, listen to them. How do they feel about this? And then based on how they feel about it, put yourself in their shoes, and then give them that, trust and comfort into why is this good for them, and how are we going to do this step by step? Because when they know it, because you know what you know, you just don't know what you don't know, they don't understand it. So let me help you understand it, so it's not as scary to you,
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that requires a lot of patience, and sometimes they're not ready. Sometimes you tell them all this and they're just like, I have to think about it, and even though this is right for them, and that they can do it if they pull the trigger, not pressuring them also is it goes a long way, so just letting them know, I'm here when you're ready, and if you have any more questions around it, I'm still here, and I think when they feel safe, they'll be ready. And that does require patience, which at the beginning, it was a little struggle for me, because I'm like, I want to help you here, help me help you. And so then when I started putting myself in their shoes and saying, okay, if I came from a different country and I do not know the language, I don't know what all these documents mean, I don't know if I can trust this person with all my money, if I can trust this person into signing a legal document. It takes time sometimes to build that trust with somebody and to do something big like that if you don't understand it. So I would just say having the patience to help that person understand it, whether you're working for the buyers or working for the sellers, because both sides can be scary.
Yeah, I agree with that. And there is definitely a different cultural mindset to it, right? Especially with first-time home buyers. Most of my first-time home buyers that are non-Hispanic, they want the lowest amount possible down. They don't want to talk to me on the phone. They'd rather text and email. The totally other way around, right? When it comes to the Hispanic demographic, is I always feel like they have a bunch of money down. They don't trust banks. They don't want any debt. They want to put as much down as they can. And the difference is, if I called Giselle and I go, hey, Giselle, American Giselle, I need your last pay stub. Well, what do you need that for? Well, we need an updated one. Your last one was 30 days expired. Well, can't you use the one I gave you before? Or, hey, I need a bank statement. I already sent you the bank statement.
Yes.
Whereas it's like I call the Spanish Giselle and I go, hey, I need a bank statement. I'm on my way. Click, drive to my office.
And to the bank, go drop it off at your office.
It's such a different way to do business, but that's the good thing about it, is that we recognize that, right? So we get to understand those cultures and what they need and what they want, and then we can help them that way. I always think about first-time home buyers as them not knowing everything I know. I've been in the business 23 years, and sometimes I have to remind myself, not everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So I have to kind of step back, and I really love first-time home buyers. It's probably one of my favorite things to do for folks, because like you said, there's an appreciation, right, for helping someone get in their first home, walk them through the process. And the last thing I'll say about that is I really believe in having a team where it comes to, like, you have a lender and you have a real estate agent, and we have to be on both, like, the same mindset. because we want to know what's going on. If there's some trepidation on the loan documents, I would expect you to say, hey, Jason, they're still having some questions they're asking me, send it back to me. And if they have any questions about the appraisal or the inspection period or whatever that is, send them back to you, right? We just kind of support each other. We have each other's back so that we can get them to the closing table.
Exactly. It's a team effort. It's a team
effort. There's no I in team. All right. Well, Giselle, I think we've went over a lot of stuff. Is there anything you'd like to share before we maybe end this podcast?
Yes, I would really like to share. There was this one question that somebody asked me, and it was actually a friend, not an agent, but we were just talking one day, and she said, when do you feel that your real estate career really shifted? Like you felt like there was a shift, like you felt like you were good at this, like this was going to be something that you do long term. And the question actually kind of caught me off guard because I was like, I know it happened recently, but I couldn't put my finger on it until a few months ago. I think I talked to you a little bit about this, but it was really when I started involving God into my business and just, inviting him really into my business. And once I did that, and I will say there was people around me that helped me recognize that I was trying to do it all myself. I was really just trying to take control all by myself because I was like, this is mine. I need to do it the way I want to do it. And doing so created a lot of stress for me. It was just very overwhelming. There was times I would cry because I was like, this is just a lot. I don't know, what I'm doing some days. And it wasn't until I started praying, just give me the heart to help people. And I want to trust you that you're going to take care of the rest. You're going to open opportunities for me. You're going to put the right people in my path. You're going to give me the clients that you want me to help. And just give me the heart to want to help every day that I wake up. When I wake up every morning, I want to help. And I think that was really what shifted my business, was when that piece of me shifted, everything else changed, And I'm not going to sit here and say there's days I don't struggle, because there's days where I gave it to God and then I took it back. It's like, here's control and then taking it back. Yes. So there's definitely days that I struggle letting it go. But for the most part, I know when I do it. I know that when I'm really frustrated at something, I can't figure it out, it's because I have to try to take control again, So when my friend asked me that, I was like, oh my gosh, that's it. And so now I try to do my best at giving him the glory and the honor, that he deserves, because it is definitely a team effort with him as well, where I had to incorporate him into my business, or else I would probably drive myself crazy.
Yes. Oh my gosh, Giselle, I'm so glad you brought that up, and it's just being so real and authentic today. I am too a God-fearing man. I would have nothing without him. And I always, when I lose track or when I have fear and when I have doubt, it's usually because I'm not trusting God. And I feel the same way. We do need to give God the glory and give God our troubles. We're not supposed to carry those burdens. And it's not just in business, but in personal. But I think in business too, we should have a purpose and not a paycheck to chase. Yes. Purpose is way more important than paycheck. When you add value, money follows value. And if you have good core values and trust your God, your higher power, I'm a Christian, so I think we have a lot in common there. And so I'm really glad you brought that up.
Yeah, there was a local insurance agent here in Albertville, and I think he's an Alpha insurance agent, but his slogan is serve, not sell. And I just love that because it just resonates so much with me too, just really serving and helping, that's why I always tell my clients, I'm here to help you outside of real estate. Like, hey, you need help on something else. You need a help with a color on your wall, like call me, like I want to help you. I want to be your friend, outside of real estate. I just don't want to see you as a transaction. And it really, I do truly believe the reason I feel that way is because it's something that I pray for. Because at the beginning, I can't sit here and say that that's how I felt. And it is, and it's not to say that I didn't want to help. I think at the beginning, I just wanted to help myself. I was like, this is scary. I need to make money. I need to make a living. I have bills to pay. I have boys. So at the beginning, I was very much like, how do I help me? And then as soon as my perspective changed and asking God, how do I help people? How do I like have that desire to help people? And that now that he truly has given me that gift to want to help people, I'm like, you take care of the rest, So really it is serving, not selling, because that's so magical. That's so much more magical than being a salesperson, and being good at it. It's you're doing something to help somebody else. That means so much more, that I want to show my kids, I'm not only a business owner, I help people, I help, and I want them to catch on to that and to also do that when they get older, and it's just about being a better human. And that's really, all I want to be is, if I could help you in anything, like that brings joy to my heart. And I can't, my mom has always been my role model in that. She's the most generous, giving. She'll give you the shirt off her back person, and so seeing her do that has inspired me to also want to do that. But we're selfish humans, growing up, we are selfish. So, I think at the beginning of my business, as I said before, I wasn't trying to be selfish. I was just like, I am scared. I don't know what I'm doing, and I need to make sure I'm making money for my family. But the moment that my mindset shifted, that's when things started to change. And that's what I hear, not only from me, but several agents or several business owners, and I do believe it comes back full circle. And, bless and be blessed. And it's doing it without honestly wanting it back. It's doing it willingly, even if you don't. It's doing it behind closed doors. It's doing it in your personal work life, all around. So that's really what I wanted to end with, because I didn't want to take that credit for myself. So.
Oh, that's so great. So everyone, if you're listening, be a better human. Let's go with that. If you didn't hear anything, be a better human. Giselle, thank you so much for being on the show. And everyone, if you've got value out of this, please give us a like, give us a follow on YouTube. And if you want to be a part of the show, reach out and we can see about getting you scheduled. Take care, everyone.